Take a look at this. This radar is showing the Category 5 storm as it continues to hover over the Bahamas and make a very slow path toward Florida's Atlantic coast. The fact that it's stalling out, Rodney, even if it doesn't make landfall in Florida, the amount of rain that's going to fall is going to be just tremendous.
Well, yeah, at this point, Gavir, the track doesn't even really matter anymore. The official landfall is not so much a concern, but it's so close to Florida, and it will get closer to Florida. You're going to see impacts regardless of where it actually makes landfall. We're going to get to that in just a second because we do have a brand new forecast for you, which was just issued as of the 5 o'clock advisory. The winds are still at 165 miles per hour, so no change there, and unfortunately, as expected, still barely moving. So the fact that it's not really moving is really going to have the biggest impact on the Bahamas because, as you know, catastrophic damage there yesterday, and that's going to continue. This is a Category 5 storm. It continues to feed off the very warm waters of the Atlantic, and with it not really moving, the same conditions are expected again today with the Bahamas. So that's why it not moving is such a big deal. Now, as far as Florida is concerned, you will start to see some rain bands increase today. In fact, we're already seeing that on radar, which we'll show you a little bit later. But again, because it's going to get so close to the coast, not only are you going to see those rain bands, but tropical storm and hurricane force winds are expected, in addition to storm surge, even with it not necessarily making landfall in Florida. So here is the very latest forecast. And one of the big things that I want to point out is, first of all, you'll see how it does start to weaken as it moves along the north coast of Florida, but it's still a major hurricane. Anything a Cat 3 or higher is considered major, so still a very powerful storm. And then you'll see here Tuesday through Wednesday, it's still along the coast of Florida, so it's going to still be moving very, very slowly, which means those tropical storm and even hurricane conditions are possible for several days in Florida, beginning today. After we get past today, notice how it does start to turn up the northeast coast. And again, the cone of uncertainty here is still along the coast. So it's not impossible to at some point see landfall, even though it's not officially expected at this point. It gets pretty close to North Carolina, though, as we head toward Friday. So once it starts to turn toward the Carolina coast, we'll be watching for landfall. But regardless of whether or not it actually makes landfall in the U.S., we are still going to see the impacts, first of all, in Florida, and then along the coast of Georgia and the Carolinas as we head through the rest of the week. So that's the new forecast. It does eventually move off toward the northeast, but certainly a problem for the southeast U.S. coast here over the next several days. Here's a look at Futurecast, and as you can see, put this into motion. The rain bands are expected in Florida, as I mentioned. That's today. Now, what's going to happen for us in Atlanta as we continue to see Dorian slowly move toward the north is a little area of high pressure is going to develop behind this storm here. And that's very normal for hurricanes. You get really, really low pressure, of course, which is the hurricane itself. And on the outside of Dorian here in North Georgia, we're going to be under very strong high pressure. So it's actually going to be mostly sunny in Atlanta because of Dorian. So while we are expecting some rain, also some strong winds, potentially some storm surge along the Georgia coast, for North Georgia itself, it's going to feel like summer. It's going to feel like exactly the time of year it is. 91 degrees today will be your high under mostly sunny skies. There's a 10% chance of an isolated shower or two today, but you're staying mostly dry in Atlanta as we take a look at Atlanta's most accurate forecast. Because of Dorian, you can see where not only, again, do we have minimal impacts, but 95 degrees by Wednesday. So it's going to get really hot, and it'll stay dry for much of the week in Atlanta, but our attention will be on the Georgia coast here by the middle of the week as we are expecting some impacts there, and we're going to keep you up to date on Dorian with the forecast and more on the impacts in addition to storm surge and the rainfall that they're expecting. We'll take a look at the latest alerts, more coverage on Hurricane Dorian coming up for you